They're currently growing at about 20%. So let's hear it for Dwayne and his team.
Can you hear me? Well, good morning, everybody. The biggest thing I think, and I want to thank Brent and I guess the superheroes and Truckman, when I got asked to do this opportunity to speak in front of the branch managers, it really brought back to my career. The most impactful person in my career has been my branch manager. So a lot today when you talk about what I'm going to go through is the opportunity and how your position is truly important to our next set of leaders that everyone's kind of related to today. So the agenda is going to talk about who I am, my enterprise career path, what an average day looks like in truck, and why truck is important to you guys as branch managers. So for those of the folks in the room that don't know me, who I am. I am from Canada, and this might be the first meeting in Dallas, Brent, and probably maybe the last, that two Canadians have bookend a meeting. Is that true, Sean? That's a record? Someone write that down. Everybody thinks I grew up on one of these. Carlos, when you get to Canada the next few weeks, do not buy one of these. Someone will try to sell you one. But we had a pretty big family. I had a brother, 2 sisters, and my parents, so we actually lived in something like this. A lot cooler. That's my polar bear, too. So the most common questions I get by you Americans, and I'm sure Sean's got the same type of questions, is, do you know John Smith? I don't know where he lives in Canada, but I know he's Canadian. Obviously, no, I don't know every Canadian. Is it really cold down there? Well, if there's any geography majors, Canada's not down. It's up. So that's not happening. Do you have a pet bear? No, I don't. The picture I found on the internet, we don't have pet polar bears. And then, what was it like growing up in Canada? This one, I tend to entertain. So growing up in Canada, my dad was from England, my mother was from Scotland. So when they immigrated to Canada, I was born there. I grew up in a very multicultural neighborhood. When you're moving to Ontario, Carlos, you'll see a lot of the schools. It's very, very diverse. And so I had a lot of different friends growing up and learned a lot of different things about different cultures. As I kind of dug back into some of my stuff at home, I dug up some old pictures to share with you guys, I realized Sesame Street up there, we had a fake-looking Big Bird. I don't know if I should have gone to counseling after this, and I think my parents wanted me to be a girl with the locks. I don't know. I think they also had they knew one day I was going to live in Texas because apparently this was my favorite outfit. Carlos, I recommend picking up an outfit like that. You will fit in really good. Apparently I wore that leather pleather, whatever that's called. I don't know what it's called, but I used to rock that like a champ. So the biggest thing I get is, how did you get here? My story began in the mid-90s. A lot of you guys are talking about collegiate sports. A lot of us in here are athletes and stuff of that nature. NCAA collegiate sports is not in Canada. It's either hockey or nothing. And so my whole dream, growing up, I loved to play hockey. I could skate before I could walk. It was my dream. And then one day my mother said, you're not playing hockey, you're going to play baseball, which Canada's 4 weeks of the year. Baseball is not very fun in the cold, but I did it. And I was the worst kid. I somehow figured it out, took a lot of steroids, and I became pretty good. In the 96, 2 of my teammates from Toronto were going down to a tryout in Augusta, Georgia. And the coach had asked about any of the players up in Canada, being a gold mine of athletes, and the coach gave me my name. Gave me a call. He said, hey, I've got an opportunity for you. Here's the offer. If you're good, I'll take care of you. If you suck, I'll pay your way home. Sounds like a good offer for a Canadian. So I went to my parents, all excited. Hey, I got this offer. Told them what it was. They laughed. I said, well, I'm just going to take my car. I'll drive down to Georgia, try out. And if not, I'll be back in a few weeks. No go. What also was going on at the same time in 96 was the Summer Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. So a flight from Toronto to Atlanta, with the exchange rate not being very strong in the 90s, was probably $3,000 Canadian. I think I had $3 maybe in my pocket. So I did the next best thing. First class. I bought a round trip ticket just in case he lied and didn't send me home on the Greyhound. Who here has been on a Greyhound bus? Okay, Pruitt, put this on your list. You like cruising in the country hills? Buddy, this is going to be fun for you. Brent, you too, put it on your bucket list. This was different for me. I don't think I've ever been on a Greyhound bus, but it was the cheapest ticket I got. This is kind of the route I took. So as I left Toronto and I got down to Michigan, beautiful city. Yep, there you go. And I realized that you get off the bus and you go through immigration. And I had 2 bags, baseball gear and clothes, and I realized I'm going to have to try to sell my way through the border. I wouldn't say smuggle because I had the intent of returning with a round trip ticket, right? So they asked me a bunch of questions. What are you doing? I said, I'm going to visit some buddies. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Go to University of Toronto. Just going to have a little vacation before school gets started. Half the people in front of me were denied to back to Canada. I don't know what their intent was, and the other half made it, and I happened to be on that latter half. So as it went all the way through this fancy little map, you don't sleep much on a Greyhound bus, but it was only 32 hours. It was a short ride. I landed in Augusta. Somebody had mentioned the Masters. I lived across the street. Very tough place to sneak in. I tried a couple times. Probably should have been deported. But my first stop was Payne College. It was a small Division II school in Augusta, Georgia. And I was looking for opportunity. I was looking for NCAA. I didn't care at what level. I didn't care where. I said, I'm in. I liked it because it was competitive, and I had to perform. Because the coach literally said, if you suck, I'll send you home. So the first week I sucked. It was hard to breathe in the South. It was really hot, and I couldn't move. What I love about this picture is a portion of our team, but I was a shortstop. So when I tell people today I was played baseball, they go, oh, you were a catcher. No, I actually was thinner, and I did put on the Enterprise 20-ish over the years. 2 years there at that college, it was phenomenal. I had a great time. I was freshman of the year. I didn't suck. I didn't get sent home, but I learned a lot about balancing a student athlete. Moved on to the next opportunity. Moved into Houston, Texas. I was in Texas, and I moved to a Division I. Like we all are, we're trying to move up the ranks, and I worked hard, I trained hard, and I'm hard to find in this picture. There's my beautiful small self. I stood beside the tall guys. But I was there for 2 years, and during that time, my senior year, I became captain of the baseball team. There were scouts coming around. A few of the guys on the team had talked to them. Some had been drafted, and one of the scouts said to me, hey, I need you to stay this summer. I said, I can't stay. My scholarship only covers the school year. You know, what will I do? And he said, it happens a lot with international, student athletes. Find a major or a job related to your major, and you'll qualify for an international student visa. Sure, sounds so easy, Scout. Thanks. So I go back to my business school, and I'm figuring out what the heck can I do. And this is where my enterprise career started. As I was walking out of class, there was a nice sign in my business building that said, Enterprise Rent-A-Car on campus interviews today. Sweet. So I said, I got an interview. Been to business classes. They talked about etiquette, business acumen, dressed the part. So I rocked a sweet white Levi shirt with a red tag. Awesome. Some Dockers, some Doc Martens, and I borrowed a Looney Tune tie from a basketball player that lived beside me. Don't know how I got the job, and the recruiter later told me she actually X'd me. So what are you doing? Then she said, well, I get it, you're from Canada, maybe you guys don't know how to dress. We'll give you another shot. Find Marshalls, TJ Maxx, get some more professional attire. So I began my career, kind of like Sean, as an intern in Houston. At the time, in May of 2000, it was a record heat. So not only did I learn to breathe in the South, but now washing cars in a suit. Being an intern that didn't know much, I was probably the senior VSA at the time. So I really had to learn how to do that. This is where you guys, as a branch manager, come into play. My branch manager was the same kind of path. Athletics, wanted to go to that next level, but it's very, very tough. He said, take your passion, your focus, your discipline, focused on stats, numbers. If you can channel it into the enterprise, this model will be amazing. And he took me under his wing. And today he's a business rental director up in Quad City. Rasheen Hartwell, I was in his wedding, he was in my wedding. Our kids are, best friends. He's been truly an important part. I got to see him in Orlando recently. So I was in intern status, and I stayed in this status kind of learning how to grill and the business, really waiting on a green card. Those aren't easy to get. Finally got a green card, I came full-time, became assistant manager like you guys, moved into branch manager, and obviously moved into an area manager. So I did area manager in Houston, Texas from 2003 to 2009, and I loved it. The same path you guys are on, I'm like, yes, I'll be the next regional manager, I'll be the next superhero, maybe Brent Russell. I loved it. It taught me so much. And you've heard today about fleet management. The younger division was all focused on sales, going out and really hunting. And my passion was sales, people, and attempts at bad jokes. And I thought, all right, let me take a shot. So I went in and interviewed, kind of went off my career path. Started out as the account executive. You heard that today, they're the hunters. Did that for about a year. The Houston market, we really boomed in the oil and gas. As we were bringing in a lot of accounts, there wasn't enough farmers that kind of take care of the accounts, build the relationships, the Kyle Brucelos of the world. So I moved over, and I really enjoyed that job. Moved to a level 3 in that department as a senior account manager. But I still found myself mentoring people, other AEs, other AMs, doing both the roles. And Dallas opened. All the good people were taken, so they promoted me to Dallas. Went home, moved my family. Hey, it's not far. It's 4 hours north. We can take a Greyhound home anytime. I've got a VIP card. We did that, and we really enjoyed it. Along the way, met a lot of great people. Obviously, all the different business departments. Brad Delby, who is truck man, as you guys know, so I guess I'm his sidekick, had a similar path to me. Rental, fleet management, and then opened up the group. So as Ryan alluded to earlier, we talk a lot about the fleet management niche of 25 and above. But we bump in, and you guys and Bill, you bump into tons of startup companies that have 1 to 25. We didn't have a real bucket for that. So I think of Jack Taylor, 1957, he started with a couple of vehicles, right? Fleet management wouldn't have been a good fit. That's where I took my sales experience from fleet management, daily rental. We're meeting with startup owners. We still meet with big companies, the FedExes, the Amazons, all those other folks, but I really loved helping a new entrepreneur with a bucket of cash and 1 or 2 vehicles and go, he's trying to grow the business. So I took a piece of every one of my areas and I moved over to truck. And it's been phenomenal. And getting to work with Brad, my managers out here, you saw the ESQI up here at 90%, super proud of them. They taught me a lot. They taught me more than I think I've taught them over the time in truck. And that's where I am today in my current role. The one thing about all these divisions that I've learned was my core competencies. Adhering to principles and values, persuading and influencing others, having to really understand business, different niches, their challenges, exceeding their expectations, of course, helping them plan, organize, what does their fleet look like, what does their business look like. They're trying to keep the lights on, and here we're trying to sell, you need more vehicles, and don't go buy, and don't get into that thing. And as they grow, we've got a good person we can hand them off to, into that need, because we only can service more of a smaller niche. And then obviously leading and supervising. I think I've always enjoyed being once the captain of the baseball team up to today is being a part of a team and leading them. So with all the sales skills and all the things I've learned and selling my way through immigration, here's my best sale. I told her I'd moved to Canada to find my bride. I told her I was part of a royal family in Canada. I kind of lied a little bit. This is my wife, Bridget. She's phenomenal. She's my backbone. She's everything to me. And she has given me now additional motivation with these 3 beautiful kids. So we have a great time. I really love what they motivate me and how I take care of them. So I'm very proud of what she's given me in my house there. So a day in the life of truck. This is not my company car. Brad made a joke early on. I thought he was going to give me a box truck to drive around. Said it would drive advertisement. I'm glad I didn't get that. But what does it look like for us? These are similar to a lot of the folks that you've heard today. Employee development, exceptional customer service, sales training and management. From an employee development position, I go out on meetings with our team, our branch managers, our assistant managers, our account specialists, really teach them everything that I've learned along the way about how to connect with businesses and how to sell what we do. A lot of people out here may know me from networking, and there's a bit of recruiting. I think for me, I like to try to be more of a mentor that folks that talk about going into 3 different divisions. It's kind of crazy. So that's pretty much most of my day is the development side and spending time with the team. And then obviously customer service. This is our backbone. It's how we grow. We take care of our accounts. We do account reviews with our folks. helping them understand kind of the headaches that are coming. You know, when you buy one truck and then you get to two, they're like, cool, my business is rocking. And we kind of give them that, where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish. Let's not let your vehicles cloud your business. And then the sales training. You know, the part that I love about truck is I deal with every one of these folks on a weekly basis. We're on a weekly fleet call with remarketing because our trucks don't cycle as quickly. And Brent talked about it earlier. They're a little longer in the tooth than the bigger trucks. I talked with CK and his team, all the breezies that are out there, and then Ryan. We have a really good relationship with them. So me having that expertise, a little bit of what they do, I'm able to bring that to our team in truck that maybe they don't know about all the other divisions. So looking ahead, Brent talked about some of our numbers. Just to give you an overview of truck, 2018, we were at 48,000 across the country, in North America. 308 branches, 1.3 thousand employees. Mega high accounts are accounts that do 60 days or more a year. So we've got 10,000 of those. And our profit, there's a bit of an asterisk on it, but we heard in Orlando we may get to 300 million. Pretty good. Part of looking ahead and what attracted me to truck is when I started to research the department was looking back. Where were they 5 years ago? And truck is the youngest business line we have. So I thought if I can get in and help pioneer a young division, if we all could go back in 1970, 13 years into rent-a-car, we would be pretty excited to be part of a pioneer group like that. So I look back and you can see we've doubled a lot of things. Brendan alluded to it, we're at 20%, just under 20% growth. We typically are growing at around 15% as a company. So if you were to look 5 years ahead with modest growth of 15%, here's what's going to happen. And someone said earlier, we're not in groups yet. There are certain groups we're still not in. So I think with my experience, being in 3 different divisions, aligning myself up to work directly with the general manager of a group, it's going to help me become a pioneer. And so how does that help you guys? The biggest thing, and what I talked about earlier, is you guys are such a critical part of our role as leaders, as a branch manager. But when we get out in the field and we're selling to these small, medium, and even large companies, every account that we close, there's a greater chance that they need rental. And so what that does is it allows us to align ourselves with the business rental team. They come on in, they set it up, and drives business to you guys. But more importantly, I think for us, it's making sure that we sell the total transportation solution. Donald and Hertz, they're not total, they're 2. We have a lot more up here. So my path has been pretty unique. It's been fun. Stamped off the rental-car side, clicked off to the fleet management side, and the truck rental side. So Penson, I don't know if I need to come to rideshare or whatever, but it's been a unique opportunity, so I've really, really enjoyed it. So in closing, the biggest thing, and I think we've heard it all today, and being the last speaker, I would say it was any thunder of mine, but this is pretty basic stuff, is mentor your employees. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for you, branch managers, I definitely wouldn't be on the stage today. You took me under my wing, gave me my first suit, you know, was tough on me when I needed to be tough on. Continue that. Your role is so critical. Understand their strengths and opportunities. I think sometimes I was guilty of it, is the rental model. Oh, you got to just rental model. And it's great, and it's the biggest model, and it's our engine of our company. But don't be afraid to listen to what they say. Things have changed. When I got to Group 09, the leadership team here of the RVPs, Brent, it's been phenomenal. The FOS. Back in my day, if you kind of asked about a different division, you were scarlet letter. Oh, he wants to leave. Something wrong with that guy. It's a different division today. We're continuing to grow. We have tons of opportunity. So know for your employees where their strengths lie. I challenge you to educate your entire team on our portfolio. That last slide of total transportation, if you don't know about it, I didn't as a branch manager. I barely knew as an area manager. But with my path, I have been able to. I challenge you to go learn. Align yourselves with these 3 amazing people and get to know them. And I've said it a couple times. You are the most impactful leader in their career. It wasn't mine, and I know there's stories out there today of folks that you guys have impacted. So, let's connect. Social media guy, I guess. The Pulse, LinkedIn, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. I think on the bottom 2, I have 1 friend on each of those. It's my daughter, because she's about to be 16, and I'm hunting a little boy. So if you friend me, I'll have 2 or 3 or 180. So I didn't have a Canon, But apparently I motivated CK at the baseball game a few weeks ago, and I said, you better bring it. And when he walked in, he had the little luggage, it looked like, so we made a joke that it was a puppet. I thought he was gonna bring a puppet on stage, but he brings out a frickin' cannon, a bazooka. I don't have a bazooka, but I do have some gift cards. So what I can ask is if everybody can stand up, under your chair is my business card. 4 of them have my name on the back and a number. You guys can stand too, yeah? Every chair. Audio visual guys, stand up. My card's under yours too, in case I can get a referral out of you. Big equipment like this needs a truck to move things. Yeah. Reach under. It's okay to remain standing. Stretch it out. We're about to be done.
That's crazy.
Stretch it out, buddy. Wingspan of a pterodactyl. Okay, so where's my winners? All right, so stay there. I got 4 gift cards. At the end of the program, see me. This is kind of a way of me giving myself a standing ovation. Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's hear it one more time for Sean Matzah.